I think you made the point earlier in our conversation. When Tesla was the only game in town, they could pretty much do whatever they want and charge whatever they wanted. And the other thing that happened was Tesla's, direct to consumer sales model, they were making such high profits, over 30% on each retail sale. Well, first off, there's nowhere near that kind of profitability from the OEM to the dealer, and certainly none of that between the dealer and the consumer. And so that's why you saw, uh, General Motors wanting to do, well, Ford specifically, want to do the direct-to-consumer sale on EVs, and you saw how that blew up in their face. They had to change that, and because they got so much blowback from the dealers. General Motors had some issues with that as well. But they're committed to even, with the changes, Mary Barra says, look, we're going to a large part of our portfolio. But in the early discussions, they were getting rid of all of their ICE engines. And I remember
right?
5 years ago talking to
2035,
dealers.
it was
Yeah,
supposed to be
dealers had
over.
said, do they have a plan B? And they would wink and say, "Oh yeah, we got a plan B. We just can't talk about it because it wasn't politically correct to talk about it." I mean, look at the
Plus,
blowback
if
Toyota
you're,
got,
yeah,
okay? Because they said we're not jumping into EVs like everybody else. We're going to take a more measured hybrid approach. And now you see who's laughing, okay?
yeah,
Toyota
because
all
it
the way to
makes
the
way
bank.
more sense to take the same amount of lithium-ion batteries
Yeah,
and make 10 hybrids that get 30% better fuel economy than it
yeah,
is to build one EV with that, which will
yeah.
save the gasoline of maybe three automobiles at the
Right.
most.
Well, we can go all, like I said, all day long on talking about the merits. I love the technology, and I know the technology is getting better. The range anxiety issue is being solved. You got quick chargers. One of the most remarkable things I've seen is the electric Formula E, excuse me,
Formula E, yeah.
Formula E circuit. Well, the first time I heard that, it sounded like a turbo dynamo revving up when these things were doing their instantaneous velocity from the starting grid and just revving up and sailing around a track. I mean, eventually you're going to see that technology, which I mean, motor racing has done that for decades. That technology comes into regular passenger cars. And so being able to do a quick charge to 80% in 10 minutes or less, that's on the horizon. I mean, it's not 10 years away. It may be 10 months away in
With
some
solid
cases.
state batteries, you could do a
Correct.
100%,
And they're
zero
getting
to
away with getting
100%.
away from a lot of the lithium dependent batteries, and going to nickel, cadmium, and
Sodium.
other salt, yeah, other salts correctly that are
Sodium's not as
safer.
dense, but it's safer.
Exactly, exactly. So as the technology evolves, so will the infrastructure. We talked earlier about on vacation. Some of the hotels, a premium hotel will have maybe 4, 5 charging units, okay?
Yeah, but if
But are
if
they on the
20 of the
standard?
people, yeah, if 20 guests picked up an electric vehicle at Hertz that
Right.
stayed at the hotel, well, that's
Yeah.
that's automatically, a recipe for disaster on both sides.
I agree. I agree. I mean, down here in the South, Bucky's is, one of the big players. And, they probably have 100 gasoline pumps at their facility, but they
And what
also
is it,
have 15
five
to 20
chargings?
Tesla
Oh,
chargers,
20? That's not
superchargers,
bad.
you know. The one not too far
That's
from you,
pretty good
past
proportion,
Christiane, I
actually.
know has at least 100. They just opened it,
It's
and
the biggest one, yeah.
it's one of the
Gulf
big, if
Coast of
not the
Mississippi.
biggest. It's
No,
crazy.
it's
Yeah.
it's it's the
The
big
biggest
it's the
one in
biggest that's
Mississippi for
based.
sure.
No, it's the biggest one that they've opened so far.
Has it? Okay. But the bottom line is, even if you go there, you got to wait now, what, 30 minutes, 45 minutes to get an 80% charge? At least it's a fun place to go hang out for that long. But, you know,
Yeah,
if you have it at a roadside, on the interstate, one of the stops, how many can you reasonably put in there? And then what are you doing for that 45 minutes while you're waiting for it to charge, or you're waiting for one to become open? And that's
That's the
the
big
thing. I
part.
mean, if you've got a roadside eating establishment, or you want to stop to do some shopping, etc.,
Shopping.
these things eventually are gonna be there. I mean, if I'm going to the grocery store, I might be in there 20, 30 minutes. I can do a 20, 30 minute quick charge and get not 80%, but I can get enough to make sure I can go home if I'm, you know, but so these solutions are going to come. The other thing too that's coming is just like you have with your phone, you can do wireless recharging. Those plates are coming where you just drive over a source and your car will charge just like your phone does.
Actually, have you ever picked up and felt your phone after you've
Oh
done one
yeah,
of
it's hot
those?
as a pistol.
Yeah, so think about 400 to 800 volts through an inductive plate.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not saying it's perfect, but I'm saying it's coming.
it's yeah, I don't know if it is. I think it
Yeah.
might be coming as fast as the hydrogen car.
Well, the hydrogen cars are there. It's just it's not the adopted format. Okay. Everybody, and it's not an EV. So it's a different, propulsion, obviously, but they were available. California had quite a few of these stations. I think Shell was the last one to close. They closed their last one last summer, where you had a hydrogen refueling. But as well as I do, you had, Honda. I mean, Honda had their hydrogen fuel cell vehicle.
Hyundai
That,
did too.
yeah, Hyundai did too. Yeah,
And it was funny because they made a hydrogen, they made an electric, and they made a plug-in hybrid one.
right. But the bottom line is, it's just like, is it VHS or beta?
Yeah, because
Uh,
people don't realize a hydrogen car, uh, which uses a fuel cell to turn liquid compressed hydrogen into electricity and then power the wheels. Hydrogen car has to have a battery pack just as much as a plug-in hybrid does, because you cannot produce enough with the fuel cell for acceleration and different things like that. So you have to have a backup with the battery to temporarily store the power, so you can store it up so the fuel cell makes it and stores it in the battery so that when you need it suddenly, it can produce it while the fuel cell makes it at the little slow snail's pace.